This is George L. Masri, and you're listening to another episode of the Well Off Podcast where I interviewed Aaron Moore today. Aaron is one of the top wholesalers in Ontario, and we discussed buying a property from a wholesaler from A to Z. What does it look like for you? What are some of the costs associated? Why should you buy from a wholesaler? We also talked about the other side of the equation. So what are the costs for a wholesaler to generate leads and to create opportunities? Basically, the cost per lead, pay-per-click options, and also flyers. And finally, we covered some of the benefits of working with Aaron. What services does he provide to sellers that make him different from other wholesalers? A lot of good things in here if you're interested in learning more about wholesaling. And also, if you do appreciate this episode, I would really appreciate it if you can share this with your friends and family and leave us a review on the Apple Podcasts platform. And finally, if you want to learn a little bit more about investing in real estate, you could download some free reports by going to welloff.ca/report. Enjoy the episode. Welcome to the Well Off Podcast, where the goal is to motivate, inspire, and share success principles. I am here with Aaron Moore today. And for those that don't know, he is a multi-award winning real estate investor and best known for having one of the most established house buying companies in Canada. He uses a mix of wholesaling, fix and flips, and long-term holds. He's built a very successful real estate business over the last few years. So Aaron, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming all the way from North York today.
Wow, thanks for having me. It was a solid 27 minutes in traffic.
Perfect. Okay, so why don't you start off by telling me a little bit about your childhood, where you grew up, and just one or two things you remember.
Sounds good. I grew up about an hour east from Toronto in Port Hope, so, stayed local in Southern Ontario all my life. Growing up, I was country boy, small town and country, had a lot of pets. Cats, dogs, even a pet raccoon, even a pony, probably others that I'm forgetting. Real estate, finances was never thought of much in my family. We were just low income, paycheck to paycheck. My parents rented all my life until I bought them their home, so that's something I'm proud of.
Nice. That's awesome. The pet raccoon kind of intrigued me. I've seen people, like videos of people that do that. How do you get a pet raccoon?
Well, my dad found him sort of abandoned. My dad worked in Whitby, so he found him, I think, abandoned in a dumpster, beside a dumpster near his work, something like that. The thing had one eye and was groggy, so hey, bring it home. And we lived out in the country, so let's recuperate it. And he lived with us for a while. Okay, cool. It's very rare. I saw this video recently of like some dude feeding hot dogs to a bunch of raccoons outside. There were like 50 of them around him. Anyway. Totally random, but yeah. Okay, so where does this interest in real estate come from? Like you said, your family was living paycheck to paycheck, no background in real estate or whatever. How did you end up being interested in real estate? It was probably, in maybe late my university, I think the last year of university, I sort of met some entrepreneurial people, started talking with them. They had... So I met a few people that had a little bit of real estate background. They had renovated some properties, had some rentals, that sort of thing. And it was just, the possibilities of, thoughts like financial independence started springing up in my mind. Someone showed me the Rich Dad, Poor Dad book, so I did read that. So it just, it's like things sort of compile on top of each other. And it's like you're going up the hill, learning little bits by little bits. But I was in my mid-20s. That's the point. I grabbed one book, some Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Real Estate Investing 101, bought a house, and there you go. That's the start.
Cool. That's awesome. And that's very different from what you're doing now, which is basically like wholesaling, fix and flip, that type of thing. What got you interested in that?
In the wholesaling and fix and flip?
Yeah.
I did. So after having, one property for a few years, it was a rental where I lived in it as well, a 2-unit property. So it did very well. I saw it appreciate, the mortgage get paid down. I was making rent from, basically I moved in housemates with me. So that went well for a few years. I saw how it went. I said, I want to do more of this. I should have done more of this earlier. So I did start going out to local real estate investing groups at that time, learning from locals about, I heard this weird concept of buying from motivated sellers and doing your own marketing and basically getting first dibs on some hot properties. So I said, that sounds like a good idea. Why don't I try that?
Yeah.
So I it's you kind of get your feet wet, you do a little bit, and for me, it certainly grew over the years. So I'm doing a lot more now.
Okay, so I think what a lot of people kind of wonder, because a lot of real estate investors get emails from wholesalers. There are tons of wholesalers now. But I think what people wonder is, how does this actually work? Like, I see a deal that I like. It looks like it's in the neighborhood that I want, whatever. How do I go about buying this house?
Sure. Well, with us and wholesalers in general, it's fairly easy, because when we're promoting a property or showing it to our investors, it's already under contract. We've got a contract. The terms are already laid out. But you do need to be ready to move quick, typically. So a lot of these, we need a quick decision. Some might be fast sales, quick closes. So there's a number of things you got to look out for. But if you're in a position to sort of buy according to the contract that's already negotiated, then you need to be ready.
Yeah. So can you kind of walk us through what that looks like? You have this property under contract, 123 ABC Street. The price that you're offering it for is $300,000. Just for an example, I go in and I say, Aaron, I'm interested in this house. What do I do from here?
Sure. So, we do send you a bunch of comparables, information. Mm-hmm. So we want to swamp you with information to help you make an educated decision. Because we do want you to move quickly. Yeah. And we don't want sort of any wishy-washy buyers. So we want you to weed yourself out. If this, we want to give you all the details. We provide you a whack of info, pictures, videos, comparables, the history on the house. So once you have that, we'll call it the document history, then if you still want to view it, we'll definitely set you up with a viewing. Usually these days, we're still doing. We can get you in for a viewing. Often it's kind of like a bit of an open house, but you have a scheduled time slot, so you can schedule a time slot to view it. It's usually when we do our inspection as well. And if you like it, basically the next day you submit an offer. Some of them, our typical process probably we get in. We do a viewing for whoever wants, and then we'll take offers the next day. Others, if they move really fast, if it's a really tight timeline, we'll just take first come, first serve offers. So it's whoever's really says yes and brings the deposit, it's theirs. When you say
bring an offer, are you talking about like a verbal offer? Or do the people just say, yes, I want it? Or do they have to put something on paper for you?
We'll if it's one of the first come, first serves, it can just be a verbal or a quick email that they want it, and really basic terms like price, deposit, any conditions they need.
Yep.
But with us, it comes down to who's bringing the deposit.
Yeah.
Anyone can say something, sign a piece of paper, and back out. I flip and sell a lot of houses on MLS as well. So I've had tons of people say they've signed the agreement. Next day it's time to bring the deposit. It doesn't happen. They back out. So that happens all the time. So for me, and I'm sure in real estate, until you get that deposit, paper is paper.
So when you say sign an agreement, like they've agreed to the terms, whatever, are they signing an assignment?
That's right. We do up the paperwork. So we'll do up an assignment agreement. Your standard sort of ORIA, standard Realtor assignment agreement, and that goes along with our agreement of purchase and sale, which someone is taking over. That's we're assigning that agreement of purchase and sale.
Right. And that's why, so as part of that assignment, you're going to say we're collecting a deposit of X dollars. And if the person doesn't bring the deposit, then they don't get the assignment, basically.
That's right. We'll just, we'll buy it ourselves. That's something about us. When we get a property under contract, we're saying we're going to buy it ourselves. Maybe another investor buys the assignment from us. If not, that's life. We do lots of flips ourselves. We buy rentals, so we'll close on it ourselves.
Right. Okay. So just to kind of break this down, so you would find a deal, however way you find one. You would get it under contract, so you would submit an offer to this seller.
Correct.
And then you would start marketing this property to the people in your database, and somebody would come along and say, I want this house, so you prepare an assignment. And as part of that, you collect a deposit from this person. And if all goes well, that contract for the purchase of this home is now assigned to this new person, and they are responsible to close on this property. Now, what happens if they're unable to close for some reason on the property?
If they're unable, basically we're going to buy it, or we can find another investor to buy it with us, or assign it to another investor. Occasionally what does happen is we don't like it when it happens, but this happens with realtors with us. Mm-hmm. There could be something that causes a delay in closing. Sometimes, rarely, but sometimes it is from our investors, and usually it's involved with, their private mortgage is delayed or something of that nature. Mm-hmm. We don't like when that happens, but sometimes that does happen. And we just ask, we work it out with the seller, compensate them something for some, if it's delayed a couple days or a week.
Yeah.
But it also depends on the needs of the seller. Sometimes that doesn't work for the seller. So people do need to understand, if you're delaying a contract, you're in breach of contract. Mm-hmm. It can fall right apart. But, most of the time, not always, we can renegotiate something and, ask for a few more days or something like that.
Sure.
But not always. Trust me, I've seen it.
Yeah, especially if the people don't know you. They just got a marketing flyer from you, and now all of a sudden you're saying, hey, hold on, we need to delay closing. They're going to think something fishy's going on, potentially.
Yeah, people have their life situation. Mm-hmm. So people are expecting that money on that day.
Yeah. And
there may be a series of things happening after that they need that money for. So mm-hmm. it's a serious thing to close on time.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I was going to ask you about your source of the business. Obviously, I'm sure you do a lot of marketing, but you've been doing this for a while. Have you found that some of your business is referral based now? Like maybe they have a friend that's in a similar situation. They get, hey, call Aaron. This guy sold my house quickly.
We do have some of that. We do pay a referral fee. It's $2,021 in 2021. So it's easy to remember, and it'll go up to 2022 next year. So
cool.
Keep that in mind. But yeah, we've paid out that referral fee a number of times, and we do have I can think of one sort of repeat client. I bought a house from them in 2009, and the same family, and I guess it was a couple inherited situations. So they had mm-hmm. Different sort of inherited houses over the years. Well, once from them in 2009, another time in 2015. So there's not a whole lot of repeat clientele like realtors would have, because it's right. It's a little more situational. But we definitely get the referrals. Like they'll refer to friends, family, if they're in a kind of a mm-hmm. tough situation, have a fixer-upper property, things like that.
Yeah. Have you ever looked at your analytics to see what your cost of sale is using different, what are your main sources of marketing? Are you doing flyers? Are you doing online ads?
We've always done a lot of flyers, but our number one nowadays is the online. Mm-hmm. Over the years, our internet presence has grown. We've just kept doing more and more online over the years.
Pay-per-click?
Yeah, a lot of pay-per-click with, Google. There's different ones like Microsoft, but Google's the main one.
Yep.
Just through search engines, the paid advertising as well. That's our number one. Maybe our straight marketing cost, probably paying around $300 a lead, roughly.
Okay. And how many leads do you normally need to close on or to complete a sale?
Well, a good number is 11 leads. We've been over 20, high 20s in the past. We've been down closer to 11 these days just because we're getting better, doing things better.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Getting better.
For sure. You're refining the process, making it more efficient. Yeah. So $300 per lead, and you need 11 leads. So you're looking at $3,300 per sale. And do you know on average what you're making on a deal?
A wholesale deal, probably an average around $30,000.
$30,000. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So that's extremely profitable. Do you know how much time it takes? I guess when you have the systems in place, you don't need to commit as much time to doing this, but setting up the pay-per-click and the landing pages and all this stuff probably takes a while.
And it's a lot of volume. There's a lot of leads, talk with a lot of people. Yeah. It's a fair bit of work.
And you have to hire somebody probably to do all that.
I've got a team, so there's a fair bit of overhead behind that nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is just kind of the cost for the sale taking into account the marketing, but it's not taking into account the salaries that you have to pay out and all this other stuff.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. So are you finding it's becoming less profitable as maybe more wholesalers come along and that type of thing, or?
Well, I don't know. We're having our best year yet, so
nice.
We're okay.
Yeah, okay, that's awesome. Yeah, have you found that there have been a lot more wholesalers lately? It feels like everybody's reaching out and saying like, hey, come join my list,
Definitely. There's the wholesaling industry. I've been around for over a decade. I've been doing this full-time since 2008.
Mm-hmm.
So I've seen, wholesalers come and go. There's sort of an ebb and flow. Long term, it's really who sticks around long term and grows the business long term. I think it's more popular. There's, 10 years ago, there was hardly any of us doing it consistently, let's say. Nowadays, there's a lot more players in the game locally. I think the whole industry is better. We've gotten a lot better. We're just providing a lot more value to the sellers. It's like any industry, competition. The more competition there is, the better value the sellers get, the more options, services. We're just, it's like better, faster, stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and the seller benefits.
Can you give us some examples of what services you would offer a seller that maybe some other companies aren't doing?
There's a lot of, there could be even small things. Like in our contracts, we tend to pay, like our company compared to the others out there, we pay bigger deposits. We have shorter conditional periods. So that's some of our value. We just tend to get things done a lot quicker. So we move a lot quicker. Some options we give to sellers, we give loans if people want a second mortgage. Sometimes it's the example of the sheriff is coming tomorrow, or they came a couple days ago and locked them out of the house. All their contents are still in the house, and they have equity in the house. So if we can give them a loan, we can get them back in. They can renovate the house and tidy it up, or something of this nature. So then they can slowly sell it themselves, or we can buy it but still get them in the house within a week once the mortgage is paid back up and they're not in arrears anymore. Yeah,
that's just to clarify. Like the sheriff was there because they missed 2 mortgage payments or whatever else, and now they're about to do a power of sale, so they've locked them out. Yeah.
So because they haven't paid their mortgage in many months, the sheriff has locked them out, and the bank or the lender is going to do a power of sale and sell their house. So we help people out from that situation all the time. Another thing we do is we like to just let them stay after closing, because people, sometimes people might be broke, or like they could have no money for moving costs, but then there's also the situation, maybe they need a lot of money. So maybe they want the equity from their house to buy their next house, or for whatever reason it is. And the typical reason is they want a lot of money, like tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands from their current house to buy their next house. So we will close earlier, and we might let them stay some weeks, maybe a month, maybe a few months, preferably not, but sometimes after closing, and that it makes their life easier, gets them the cash they need now, and they can move on with their life with a lot of cash in their bank account.
And that's pretty cool. How do you? Well, first of all, if you're letting them stay for a few months, are they technically not your tenants at that point?
Yeah, we're not keeping them as tenants. They're not paying any monthly rent. We do have a large security holdback. We're talking tens of thousands. It could be 30, 50,000, something like that, to make sure they leave.
Okay, so you're not accepting a monthly rent from them. Therefore, they're not technically your tenants. You're allowing them to stay in this home.
Yeah.
Interesting. Have you ever run into a situation where the people refused to leave and you had to get them out somehow?
Yes, we have, and but typically it's rare. And it works in our favor. Like I have had one family, they moved out a week late. So we have a $500 a day penalty coming from their security holdback for that. So I think it was 5 days late, so I got a $2,500 check for 5 days from my lawyer.
What if they didn't leave? Then what would you have to do? Would you just call the police at that point?
You'd have to take it to court.
Yeah.
And we have tens of thousands in holdback, and that would come to us, and that would pay for it basically.
You're protecting yourself with that holdback, which is awesome.
So there's risk and reward, and
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just thinking with the way courts are, like if you're a couple months, 9 months to get them out or whatnot, could be pretty bad. But you protect yourself. Yeah.
We don't want to keep that hold back. We want them to move out. Like the reason is it's a good security to get them out on time.
Yeah, that's awesome. You've been doing this a long time. For people that are looking to do their first wholesale deal, what are some things to watch out for? Because obviously there's a lot of people doing it. Some might not be as ethical as others, or they might be, there might be some scams out there or whatnot. What do you want to look out for? What defines a good wholesaler?
I guess for me, like I do see wholesalers, they want to wholesale this contract, and they seem to want to get paid whether the property closes or not, and all this kind of stuff. That's like, here, sign the piece of paper, buy the piece of paper, and I want my money now, and deal with whatever happens. But I've seen contracts not close. So I've had a person die before closing. Do we really expect a person to go and sue the estate and go in a legal battle with the estate because the estate wants to take control of the sale themselves and doesn't want to sell to you and all this sort of thing? Or I've had someone, sell to me, and then I got a call like a week later after we signed the paper, and he's trying to renegotiate, get a higher price, and he told me he has another buyer who's going to pay more. I think we did end up going up a few thousand, but what happened in hindsight is he sold the house with an earlier close date and then left the country. So he sold the house, earlier close date. It comes to our closing date, and it's, and he changed lawyers as well. So he picked a different lawyer, closed the house before our closing date, left the country.
Closed to someone else?
Yeah, he sold the house to someone else.
While you already had it under contract?
That's right.
Whoa.
Yeah. And then he's left the country. So, what are we going to do? We're not going to do anything. So there's not much to do.
But he still had a deposit from you, right?
Yeah, our deposit was with his lawyer, so we got that back.
Okay.
It took a little while, but we got it back. So things happen. So if there's a wholesaler that wants your money before the deal actually closes, just be careful.
If they want your money, like the
their
full
assignment
amount?
fee. Their assignment fee. A deposit, of course, a deposit is expected. But if they expect to get paid out in full, or paid out basically, if they expect to get paid out before a successful closing, that's for me, that doesn't work.
Yeah, so maybe we'll talk about that a little bit, because obviously you make money on the wholesale fee. Maybe there are other ways for you, but in general, like that's how wholesalers make their money.
Correct.
So how does that work for someone? Let's say you as the wholesaler have a property under contract for $300,000, but you're assigning this contract for $325,000. So there's a $25,000 wholesale fee for somebody buying that home. How can they get financing? Like, are they able to get financing through a lender, like an A lender, or it has to be private in that situation?
They can get financing for an A lender, but it's typically on the $300,000.
Yeah,
it's not on the $325,000. Private lenders, alternative lenders may lend. Some do lend on the $325,000.
Yeah,
but typically the big banks, they're just used to lending on the contract.
Yeah,
the agreement of purchase and sale price, the $300,000. I've heard rumors of A lenders doing otherwise. I just haven't nailed it down yet.
Okay. I'm just wondering, because A lenders are so strict now with things. If they know that there's an assignment fee, do you know, are you aware if that can ruin the deal for the person trying to get the lending?
No, I've never seen it ruin the deal. Like, lots of our deals are done through the big banks, so it's not really an issue. But one thing, usually when it's going through big banks, we're doing this amendment to change the name to the buyer's name. So the banks don't even need to see that assignment. So that is one thing we do. That makes it a bit easier. But sometimes the banks see the assignment as well. There's different ways to do it.
Yeah, if they see it, I'm sure they're going to say, you got to show us that you have enough cash to do the down payment plus the assignment fee or whatever.
If they see the assignment fee as an extra, they just need to see you have more down payment.
They have to factor it into their numbers. Yeah. Okay. So do most of the people you work with or most of the buyers, do they typically go with private lending, or do you have like a big group of people that would go through an A lender?
It depends on the property and the closing time frame typically. So we have definitely a fair share that would close and buy with an A lender, a bank mortgage, and that's usually going to be your house in livable condition, and it has to have, we're probably these days, like since COVID, everything's gotten slower.
Yeah.
So, the A lenders are taking, it seems like they take at least a month to do a bank mortgage. Sure, they can do it quicker, but if it's a 2 or 3 week closing, we're probably not going to put a bank mortgage on it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's a little too tight.
And if the houses are unlivable, just major disasters, if it's a real fast closing, then if people are buying with like cash, lines of credit, private lenders, that sort of thing.
Okay. Yeah. So maybe one last thing in terms of your marketing. So you're saying that the online stuff has been more effective lately. As of late, you started off doing a lot of flyers and you had success with that. Are you finding flyers have become less effective?
I would say recently they become less effective. Just it depends on the area. If a bunch of other house buyers are sending flyers in the same area, then it's going to be less effective. If you go find, certainly, if anyone wants to buy in a higher end neighborhood, they're not getting the like a more expensive. Higher end neighborhoods aren't getting these kind of flyers. It's more the, for the GTA, the lower price points, the older neighborhoods. I don't think too many people are sending it to brand new houses and more expensive neighborhoods. So
right.
It's certain types of neighborhoods. I'm sure people in our industry target the types of houses they want to buy. Generally it's getting more expensive it's getting more expensive to do the mailers, but it's it's still worth it.
And it's I'm guessing typically unaddressed mail that just blasts out to a postal code area.
Just do postal codes based on types of houses we want to buy. Often people want to buy those, say, bungalows, or some houses you can convert into 2 units. There's lots from the 50s, 60s, 70s, so it's those kind of neighborhoods.
I can see it being very expensive because I've seen like the same flyer going from Hamilton out to like this area, like Woodbridge, all sorts of places. So if you're doing thousands of flyers like that, it can add up pretty quickly. You'd have to get a pretty substantial return to make it worthwhile. So
it's you're always mailing some thousands of letters, and it's costing you thousands of dollars. So.
So I'm assuming you have to like keep track of everything you're doing in this business. Like you can't afford to just try something and not track it, right? Like, what kind of systems do you have to track your marketing, your results?
There's partially, like, it's not like we're a huge volume industry. It's not like say a convenience store where you got transactions in and out all day long or something. But we do have systems. We have our phone system. We have we use CallRail for our phone system, so that we have all these different phone numbers. So different letters will have different phone numbers on them. So we know based
local numbers, right?
Yeah. And it's not perfect tracking because we send a letter, someone might go to our website, and then so we don't really know it came from the letter. But on each letter it does have different phone numbers. So if they call that phone number, then we do know it's exactly from that letter.
Yeah. Did you take did you take courses on this, or did you just kind of figure it out as you were going?
I've taken probably the best would be I've had different coaches over the years.
Okay. Yeah.
And I've been involved in different local real estate investment networks, and I've learned from many sources.
Cool.
Many.
Awesome. Okay, so why don't we jump into the next section, which is the random 5. I'm just going to ask you 5 random questions, and you just tell me the first thing that comes to mind. Okay. The first one is, where do you see yourself retiring?
Oh, probably staying put.
Yeah. Is it in the near future, you think?
No. I'm here to work. I'm here to do things, create things, so I'm not here to retire. I'm not on this earth to retire.
Okay.
But I certainly may also. I'm sure at some point I do like going away in the winter for a while and having more sun than they have around here. So I do like places like Greece, and even Florida is great, and
cool.
Aruba, Costa Rica, beautiful places.
Yeah, lots of beautiful places to go in the wintertime here. Number 2, what was your dream as a child? What did you want to become?
dream. I was always a bit of a nature boy. I don't know. I don't think there was any one thing I ever stuck to in my head. I can think of myself wanting to be like a forest ranger or something. Maybe in high school, I had thoughts of maybe journalism, writing, something like that. But there's nothing I really stuck to die hard.
Yeah.
Cool.
Number 3, what animal do you admire?
Admire? There's always something about the monkey I like, just because it's so fun to interact with. Yeah. I've been, traveling around the world, you get to interact with monkeys, and they're a real treat, real handful. Yeah. Entertaining.
I agree with you. I love monkeys and snakes. Number 4, if you were a plant or a tree, which one would you be?
Plant or a tree? Well, I'd probably like to give some good fruit, so let's see, what tree gives some good produce? How about an apple tree? That's pretty good. Okay. And I always remember that story of Johnny Appleseed spreading apple seeds and planting apple trees around North America, whatever he did. Yeah. That sounds good.
That was kind of a weird question, but you covered it pretty well. Number 5, if you were forced to participate in a triathlon, so running, biking, and swimming, which one do you think you'd be best at?
I'm great at them all.
Yeah. Are you?
I'm pretty good at all of them, yeah.
Cool.
But maybe swimming. Yeah.
Have you done a triathlon?
No, but I've certainly done a half marathon, so I'm a decent runner. Yeah. Cool. And I'm a pretty good swimmer.
Nice. Yeah. That's awesome. I've also done a half marathon, but that was very difficult. I was sore for like 2 weeks after that.
Me too.
Yeah.
I was much better with like 5 and 10K. Yeah. I used to do those more in my 20s, and I preferred those much more.
Yeah. I don't know why. I just really struggled. Maybe I didn't prepare properly, didn't eat the right things and whatnot, but anyway, got through.
I'm sure like me, it was the training. I didn't train for it enough.
Yeah.
Not nearly.
Yeah. Okay, so how do people reach you, and what services do you provide?
Well, for investors, we've got our website, housedealsgta.ca. People like that website and our service because we're basically giving you these private off-market deals. They're big discounts. These are you're buying for less than market value. Like when we send out a deal, you cannot find this price or this kind of property on MLS. So that's our focus. That's what we do. So if you want those kind of deals and in different areas, so you can go to our website, get our email notifications, and you can tell us what areas around Ontario that you're interested in, and we'll try to only send you what you're interested in. So that's housedealsgta.ca. We have a couple different websites. There's that website's for investors. We have another website aimed at house sellers. So it's not the house sellers website you go to, it's the investors website.
Yeah, cool. Just on that note, I have actually seen certain wholesalers that will put out deals, but what they've done, they've just purchased a home off the MLS and they try to package it as a great deal. So sometimes you have to be careful too. Make sure you do a little bit of research, figure out what market value is, and don't just take the wholesaler's word for it, right?
Yeah, if you work with a realtor, ask a realtor maybe to give you some comparables, or there's a lot of sold data you can get. House Sigma, I don't know, Zolo. House Sigma is what I use most, but Zolo, I have these different ones. You can actually find out the sold data in the area, so you can double check everyone else's comps. So if someone sends you a few comps, it's good. Use that information, but double check.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Awesome. Well, we covered a lot of good stuff here. I appreciate you coming down, and I look forward to chatting with you again soon.
Thanks for having me.
As always, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the content. And if you did, I ask you to share this with a friend, with a family member, somebody who might benefit. And it's always appreciated if you can leave us a review, especially if you're listening to it on the Apple Podcasts app, or if you're on YouTube, give us a like, subscribe, comment, and your support is always appreciated. Thank you very much.